Hello everyone, it is Kelsey and welcome back to my channel. So guys, for today's video I figured since I kind of missed my first semester of sophomore year at MSU being a fashion studies major, I wanted to fill y'all in of what I did that semester so that we can start fresh and new and you guys are gonna know what everything is going down in next semester, which is sadly starting so soon. Ugh. But okay, so I wanted to fill y'all in. This semester I ended up actually only taking 5 classes because I had an extra 3 credits. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but I had an extra 3 credits from when I took AP Studio Art in high school. I ended up getting a 5 on my exam, so they gave me 3 credits automatically that went into the system, and I didn't realize that until later on, so I figured I'd give myself a break and only do 5 classes this semester, which I'm glad I did because it was low-key crazy. No, it was high-key crazy. So I figured I'd start off just by going like in order, I guess, of my schedule, like how, just so that I remember. It is a requirement for all MSU students, unless you have taken a language AP exam and passed and were able to get credits from that, you have to actually take 2 semesters of language, which I don't know how you feel about it. I was really happy to take Spanish because I am Puerto Rican and I don't know a lick of Spanish, so I really was excited to take Spanish this semester. I ended up testing into Spanish 2 instead of going through Spanish 1. It also fit better in my schedule to take Spanish 2 for this semester, so I was really happy about that. The one thing that's really cool about MSU's Spanish program is that it's actually online. It's not, your class isn't online unless it says that you're taking an online class, but I do enjoy the fact that our textbook as well as our lesson plans and everything is online. I liked that about the class. My only thing about it being online, like all of your tests and quizzes and this and that, is that if you don't know how to put like the accent marks or anything that you need for the specific language, it's, you know, it's kind of difficult. As far as like my actual professor this semester, she was new, but she was really sweet. She was really specific though on everything. Like you had to spell everything correctly, you had to have the correct la playa, like it had to be la, you couldn't say el playa or else you'd get like it all wrong. I enjoyed taking Spanish. We don't just have Spanish at MSU, there's a bunch of different languages. There's actually even sign language too that you can take, which I would have loved to have taken, but for some reason, being a fashion studies major at Montclair, they don't count that towards your required language. Like it won't even come up when you're signing up for your classes. So that's kind of annoying because I would have loved to have taken that as well, but what you gonna do? On Mondays I also had physical anthropology. So my physical anthropology class was 1 day a week, but it was 5 hours long. And it was so, oh my god, like I don't even know, bro. That class was something else. I had like a love-hate with my professor because I ended up doing really well in that class, and she was like low-key funny at times. She would throw in punches or like say like the most weirdest thing ever and it would be hilarious, but then again, like I wasn't like crazy about the way that she taught our class. I don't know about how it is for every other anthropology class, but we didn't have a textbook for this class and this professor, and so she would give us these PowerPoints, but these PowerPoints could have been like 30 slides or they could have been like 60 or 70 or 80 slides. Like it was so crazy, and we would go through the PowerPoint during the entire class. She was very monotone, like she didn't necessarily have a lot of, you know, vocal, like she wasn't interesting with her voice, and so it made it a bit harder to pay attention to, and so my sister almost fell asleep a couple of times, a lot of the time. Me and my friends wanted to take anthropology because we figured, oh, it's not biology, because I was really bad at biology in high school. And then, sorry, that's my puppy. He's been sick lately, I feel so bad. He hasn't been doing so well. What was I saying again? Shoot, I don't remember. We would get breaks because it was such a long class, but they weren't like scheduled. We'd have breaks whenever she thought that we weren't focused or paying attention or this and that. One thing that I will say, and I think this is a department thing which is really weird and I don't like this at all, and I'm pretty sure it's kind of illegal. They really don't want you leaving class to go to the bathroom while we're learning and stuff, and one of my friends literally left like after the first couple of days because she really had to go to the bathroom. She's like, well, a girl's gotta go, I'm gonna go, I'm not gonna pee my pants. She went to the bathroom, and then my professor was like really upset. And then when she came back in, she literally followed her and was like, you can't leave to go to the bathroom. Like I told you, you're not allowed to leave. So don't do that again. But it's like, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to go to the bathroom. And I'm pretty sure I learned this in like sophomore year of high school, that like you can't tell a person that they can't go to the bathroom. If a teacher tells you that you can't go to the bathroom, you have the full right to go, because if you gotta pee, you gotta pee. Or you know what, teach them a lesson and pee your pants. Or better yet, poop your pants, because then the place will smell and you'll be like, well, shit, bitch, like, you made me do it. So, oh, I was talking about biology. So me and my friends took this class because we figured, okay, I was really bad at biology. Chemistry was, ugh. I'm not taking a chemistry class in college. That would have been torture. And like all the other classes, they just didn't seem like to like fit our schedule too. So we picked anthropology, and just my luck, we learned about biology for the first week or two. And so it was kind of wild. Wasn't a fan. You learn about biology and then you talk about like a bunch of stuff, but at the end of the semester, we, like for the second half of the semester, we ended up talking about monkeys, which I don't know why as a fashion studies major I'm learning about monkeys, but you know, to each his own. It was actually very interesting and I thought that it was really cool, but as far as like I'm spending $6,000 to be taught about fashion, where is the fashion coming in yet? I don't know! But supposedly it's really not going to be coming in that soon either, so I'm low-key really annoyed about that. Let's talk about another class that I ended up taking this semester. Tuesdays I ended up taking art history, which I also had a love-hate relationship with art history. Wasn't a fan of it at first, also because I was low-key scared because I took an art history class in high school and I ended up doing really bad on my AP exam, and so I didn't want to be disappointed again. I ended up actually really liking it afterwards. You definitely have to get in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to be looking at a PowerPoint presentation with slides of images of art for 2 hours. I'm going to just have to suck it up and pay attention and take notes. So I didn't know about any of the other professors that teach art history, but I know that for my professor, all that she would do when she put up a PowerPoint slide, it would be like this black slide. It would have a picture of the artwork and then it would have the title of the piece as well as the artist, and that was it. So it was like high-key difficult because we would have to write down notes for everything that she was saying. She had told us that we need, like she stressed that we need to be reading our textbook, and I think that if you can't pay attention in class, you are going to have to read the textbook, and it's going to be boring AF. It's just long, there's like long words talking about art. If you don't understand the art terms, it can get kind of confusing and all that, but I will say that I kind of finessed. I didn't end up reading my textbook. I just made really good notes and paid attention during class, and anything that I didn't understand, I would end up looking up online later. Like a good tip for y'all if you're taking an art history class, if you're not already watching the videos, Khan Academy has some great videos talking about pieces of artwork as well as artists, so you should check those out. I will say that now going into a place like the Met, I can so appreciate the artworks a lot more, and like I kind of know some things, you know, like she's kind of smart now, you know? So I'm really happy that I ended up taking this class. I did end up doing very well. And I would recommend too to anyone who is on the fence of like taking an art history class. You might be a little bit bored by it, but I also think that it was really worth taking it because I ended up enjoying it a lot. Even though I am like, I consider myself an artist and I really like art and stuff, I can appreciate going into museum more, knowing certain things. And also too, pro tip you guys, for studying for any type of art history class, what I recommend doing, which I think this helped me most, and I actually learned this from in high school. My professor this semester did not tell me to do this, but I think that is really important that you do this. When you're studying for your midterm and your final, I really recommend that you get these huge flashcards, like get those big index cards that are like the biggest ones that you can buy. Print out the pictures of the pieces and print them out in color. I know that it might be expensive, but print them out in color. They don't have to be great quality, just like so that you get an idea of what this picture is actually looking like. You kind of know the colors so that you can talk about it. Paste that onto the index card, the front of the index card. On the back of the index card with all the lines, you're going to want to write the title, the artist, the time period, or like the dates, whatever your class really needs you to know. We just did time periods. You're also going to want to write the medium so that you have something to talk about, as well as key points and facts about the piece of artwork. I know that sounds kind of crazy and excessive, but that is the easiest way for me to tell you how to study, because that's how I did really well. I ended up getting a 96 on my midterm. I'm not sure what I got on my final, but I got a 96 on my midterm, and that's like really good, especially since I really did really bad in high school. So I was like pretty proud of myself, like that. Gonna lie. I'm just trying to help y'all out because sorry. It was definitely difficult, but I think that it's worth taking if you're interested in taking it. So Wednesdays I had off, which I liked because it was like a break during the week, and I could thoroughly appreciate that nice break. Thursdays I also had Spanish in the morning, and then I had marketing very late. So I had introduction to marketing, and I also had like a love-hate relationship with this class too. I think with all of my professors. My one professor for marketing, he's a really smart man. Like, he's just like, you know, he's a smart guy. And the first day we had classes with him, he literally just like name dropped so many companies that he's worked with when it comes to marketing. I was just floored, mind blown, absolutely crazy. As far as the things that we learned in marketing, like I said in my other video, they're very interesting and I do appreciate learning about them, but I think that, I don't know if it's because my mind is just very businessy or whatnot, since I do eventually end up wanting to start my own company, but I personally found that the concepts were kind of easy to remember. It was just putting, like, the concepts are easy to know because like you kind of have an idea of them already. It was just putting a name to what was going on and what's happening, you know, like brand association, if it's like top of mind, unaided, like this and that. It was a very interesting class and I did enjoy it, but my thing was that my professor would always say like, you don't really need to know this right now, like you can always look back at it in the PowerPoint. And no offense, he kind of, not that he's watching this, but he kind of treated the class a little BS-y. He was just, yeah, like it's okay, whatever. And then like when it came to our midterm and our final, you really needed to know all of the information that he gave us. And it wasn't just like, okay, you need to know the definition. You need to know the definition and then you need to know how that will affect something else, like when it comes to marketing. Okay, so as an example, just because this is the first thing that I think of, top of mind awareness would be like, okay, if they tell you like to name shoe companies, and the first thing that you think of is like Nike, Adidas, and New Balance. Those are the first things that come up on your mind. So then he would say, okay, give me an example of top of mind awareness, give me an example of unaided awareness. So then you'd have to be like, okay, so if we're talking about fast food brands, then my top of mind is KFC, Burger King, like Wendy's, like all that. And then it would be like, okay, aided awareness, you have like a symbol, the KFC symbol, then you're gonna be like, oh, KFC, and like all that. So it was like very in-depth. You would have to remember examples from what we talked about in class from like a month or two ago, and it was just kind of crazy. But what I will say too is that in the end, even though like my grade on Canvas, which is what like the teachers are supposed to be inputting our grades in, I did end up having like a B on Canvas. He ended up still giving me like an A- because of like all the projects and like the effort that you do put into it and stuff. So I do appreciate and thank him for that. I also think that what was really cool too, he brought in a lot of student guest speakers. You saw where they were at when it came to their life, and they were really interesting to see how far they come. Like one girl was working for a watch company, and like she was a business major, but she was also doing a lot of design stuff, and she would work with 3D printers. And the other girl that came in, she was working for a new wine company that is run by like the Fat Jewish, and it's a can that would have wine, and she was talking about like how big they were and like how it's a very small company but they're progressing and like all this. And it was very interesting, very cool to hear about like their success and being like, oh shoot, like maybe this can actually happen to me someday. I really did appreciate that with our class. I'm not sure about everybody else's. So in the last class that I ended up taking was Process and Media 2. Process and Media 1 last year, and I took Process and Media 2 this year, and it's definitely a lot different because you're not drawing and doing stuff like 2D, you're working very 3D. So we had really cool projects actually. Being an artist myself, I'm so used to drawing in pencil and painting and watercolor and this and that, and working with 3D stuff, it's very new and interesting to me. So we had like a plaster project that was like, plaster is just, I don't know, it's cool, but then again, plaster is very I don't know how I feel about plaster. I have a little bit of PTSD from plaster. Cardboard projects where we were talking about articulations, I believe they're called. Sorry, I don't really remember, but we talked about like hinges, and we talked about like buttons and clasps and this and that, like how to do stuff. In the end, we ended up having to make a chair. It was supposed to be out of cardboard, but my group didn't make one out of cardboard. We made it like a hammock. It didn't turn out as good, but it's cool, it's fine, whatever. I thoroughly enjoyed 3D. Being that I am a fashion studies major, it's still kind of disheartening. And don't get me wrong, this has nothing to do with my professor, because I had a really awesome professor. I think as far as like art teachers goes, she's one professor that I have had that actually knows what she's doing, and the things that she was teaching us was very helpful. But being a fashion studies major, it's really hard. Me knowing that the money I'm spending is going mostly towards art classes and classes that aren't necessarily gonna help me when it comes to fashion makes me kind of annoyed and upset right now, because I feel like I'm back in high school going through a bunch of BS. I want to know what I'm learning about, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know if I'm gonna make it and like if I have what it takes and stuff. And I was talking to one of my friends that I made this semester, actually from marketing and process and media, and she said that honestly Montclair has really changed their fashion studies program and that it's mostly art based, and then not until your senior year of college do you really start doing stuff with fashion, which makes me a little bit upset, not gonna lie, because I want to be learning fashion stuff. And so I don't know if it's just how I've been scheduling my classes and trying to get all the silly things out of the way first, but I'm low-key like kind of upset by this. But as far as my experience, I guess, this semester, I think the easiest way to say this, how you probably are guessing, I had a love-hate relationship with this semester, especially with working in school. It was just, it got really crazy in the end. So, but I ended up doing okay. I didn't do too bad. So we'll see about next semester. Actually, like I said, I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but I ended up taking a winter course this semester, which I'm currently taking right now, and I should really be doing my homework, but I ended up taking Spanish 3 this semester. So like I had said, you only need to take 2 semesters of a language, but I actually want to go on to Spanish 4 only because I am Puerto Rican and I just want to learn Spanish. Like, I want to be able to have a conversation with someone in Spanish, because I think for me specifically that's important for me to know my culture and like all that jazz. So I ended up taking Spanish 3 this semester, and so I really don't, personally, when it comes to languages, unless you know the language, like I don't really know Spanish that well. Unless you know the language or you know someone who knows the language very well, to me, it's not worth taking a language class during the winter, because one, you're spending an obscene amount of money. I'm pretty sure it costs like $1,000 plus for me to take this class. Not only is it not in person, it's online, and you're literally working so freaking hard. And if you have a job during winter break, it's too much sometimes, you know? Like, if you're working and then you have to balance school again, like, it's just a lot to handle. And the most thing that I'm annoyed about is because for me, I want to learn the language, but I find myself at the end of it, because I'm rushing to get my work done, and I find myself not learning as much. You know, I'm just rushing to get it done, that I'm not really focusing and paying attention to what I need to know, which is very important, especially in Spanish 3, because in Spanish 1, you're talking about present tense, things that are happening now. Spanish 2, you're talking about the past tense, like things that have happened. Spanish 3, like, I don't even know what we're talking about, like what tense we're learning about. But we're learning about the subjunctive, all this other stuff, and it's just very different compared to the other 2 that I have learned before. And so it's really hard for me. And my mom's Hispanic too, and like she helps me with some of my stuff. Even she doesn't understand what we're learning. So if I want her to help me, she has to learn it with me. And we kind of like piggyback back and forth off of each other. So I wouldn't recommend taking a language online over winter break. Okay, so like my one friend goes to Delaware and her winter break is absolutely insanely long. The reason why she went back to school so early was because she was like, I just get bored. Like I get too bored because everyone goes back to school and I'm just out here. I still have a couple weeks left of break. So she ended up going back and taking a winter class. To me, that makes sense. But for someone like me where my break isn't as long as other people, I wouldn't recommend taking a course over the winter. Maybe in the summer I can budget for it, but like winter, I found it was such a waste of money. It was literally, I saved all my money from when I was waiting tables and I had that money to go towards a semester at school, but it just went to this class and I just feel it was unnecessary. And it doesn't have to do with my professor because she's very attentive, but when I say that you're literally learning vocabulary one day, then after you're learning vocabulary, then you are learning the lesson for that, I don't want to say week, because you're learning it for literally 3 days, and then after you learn how to do everything, then you have to take a test on it. So literally every 3 days we were taking tests, and yes, we do have weekends off, but it just, with working, it was just like way too much for me, and I'm afraid that I didn't have enough of a break this semester to where, like this winter session, to where next semester I'm just gonna be so over it already, and I'm not even gonna try. And that's not good, because I need to get good grades this semester, because I really want to get scholarships so that I don't have to be paying an obscene amount of money to go to school when I'm literally not even learning about anything that I want to be learning about. So yes. So thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk, guys. I think that's it for this video, guys, as far as my talking about this semester, and hopefully I'll be able to be vlogging so that you guys can see real time how much I struggle while I'm in school, because I struggle a lot. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it is helpful. If you guys are interested in anything MSU or being a fashion studies major and you're like thinking about going to MSU for it, definitely just shoot me a DM, leave a comment down below, anything like that. I'd be happy to help you guys out and answer some of your questions. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you guys are going back to school, I really, really wish you the absolute best of luck. And I need some luck too, because Lord knows I'm gonna need it. Alrighty, guys. Bye-bye.